Welcome back to the ACT checklist guide. In this video, I am going to show you exactly how to download useful materials from the ACT platform. We start out in the session that we previously created. We made a session in a former video using the 5 Lencioni behaviors game as the foundation for our session. And now I would like to prepare my session a little bit further. I need a script for the workshop. I need a facilitator's guide. I need a handout and a couple of other useful things. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure that my session has been finalized. It has been because it says ready up here in the upper right corner. So whenever it says ready up here, that means your participants can join the session using a link, the ID, or a direct email invitation. The first thing I'm going to do is go to the game I added into my session, click the 3 little dots out here on the right-hand side, and hit the resources button. This will allow me to download the handout for the game. I can also choose between the automated facilitation guide and the custom-made facilitation guide that is available in many games, but not everyone. In this particular case, we have a custom-made facilitation guide for this game, so this is really useful for me. The first thing I'm going to do is hit the download handout button right here. That will open the handout, and if you're not familiar with what the handout is, this is something that you can provide to the participants. It gives them the introductions to the game itself, so the scenario introductions, the chapter introductions. It gives them an overview of all the stakeholders in the game, and it also gives them an overview of the different options available for each chapter. So now I put up the handout. I can download it with this button up here. And once I have done that, I can go back to my tab and visit resources again. Because now I can download the facilitation guide located right here. Once I click that, it opens up just like the handout did. I can scroll down here to get an introduction to the game itself, the chapter structure for this particular game, an introduction to the theories, the start position of the game, and then we move on to the chapters. So the facilitation guide is really useful when you do face-to-face workshops primarily, or facilitated workshops of any kind really, where you need to do debriefings in between chapters or once the game has ended. So for each chapter, there's going to be some input as to which questions would be relevant to ask the players during this chapter or after it. You also get an overview of what are the perceived results for each of the selectable actions. So you get a pretty good indication of which actions are better than others and how do they differ. So that was the facilitation guide. Remember to download it so you have it for later. You can either print it out or just bring it with you digitally. If we go back to our session here, we have now downloaded both the handout and the facilitation guide. One extra thing I wanted to share with you is, of course, the toolbox. There is a quick access link to the toolbox right here, but there are multiple different ways of reaching the toolbox in the ACT system. If I click the Go to Toolbox button right here, it then takes me to an overview of the toolbox. And if you're a certified consultant, you will have access to the consultant toolbox right here. This toolbox is really useful for preparing workshops. You have the ability to download board signs right here. So if you're using a floorboard and would like to dive into a specific theory framework that the game was built on, you can go in here and download John Cotter's 8 change steps, for an example, or Rick Morris' 6 steps in the change process as well. So different things can be downloaded here. If I just click this one as an example, we then get the 6 leadership styles of Daniel Goleman. It can be used. You can place them around the floorboard and have discussions based on when are these different leadership styles, when are they particularly useful. So If you're using Floorboard, always go in here and check out, are there any signs that I can use in conjunction with that Floorboard? The next thing I wanted to show you is the workshop preparation tab right here. So here you can download a number of different things, and we're not going to go through all of them here, but one tab right here gives you an overview of different exercises that either we or the people we collaborate with have been using throughout the time. So these are examples of different exercises you can do with your participants. And if you plan on having a full day workshop where you're not just playing a game, but you're also doing other things, it makes sense to have some of these exercises and bring them along with you. We also have a tab for classroom presentations. So here we have some different theory introductions, ideas for PowerPoints that you can use to showcase the theory framework. The game I selected is a relatively new game, so we don't have a stock introduction to the theory there. But if I were to discuss the cycle game concept using change, I could use this document right here. Gives a pretty good introduction to the cycle concept. We also have some slides from game events in the tab right here. These are slides that we have used in different presentations of our games throughout the time. And we tend to update this list quite frequently. So if you are looking for a particular game, and I know for a fact there is an example of the 5 dysfunctions of a team game in an event format here. So if I click this module right here, I will be able to see the presentation that we used the last time we introduced the game. So this would give you some input as to what could the PowerPoint file look like. If you are introducing the theory framework, you can always just go in here, look for something that is supporting that. Finally, we have some workshop timetables. If we click the last button down here, we have different timetables depending on your needs. So we know that many of you might be running workshops on just one day, but if you're having a longer workshop lasting 2, 3, 4 days, we have some input for that as well. In my particular case, for the game that I previously selected, I said I was going to run a 2.5 hours workshop. And I think we are going to have 5 hours in total to discuss the not only the game, but also the general team dysfunction topic as a whole. So I think I'm going to look into the 5-hour document right here. If I click this one, I am then able to download a Word file. And if I just bring it over here, you can see this is just an example of a previous script that we have used in a similar setting. So this script might not be tailored for the 5 dysfunctions of a team game, but it does have some input as to how should you be spending your time in a game, in a workshop that lasts between 3 and 5 hours. And this is ideal for the game that I just selected. So here we get some input as to how many computers should we have available? Do we need the floorboard? Do we need the handouts? What should we be discussing in the early stages of the day? And when should we start playing? All of these things can help you plan your workshop. And you're free to just download this, edit it, so it suits your purposes. But it's nice to have a script or a timetable for the workshop itself. Again, like with the other files, just download it, save it in a folder, and make sure that you have everything ready for your workshop in that way. All right, that was a fly-through of how to get ready for your workshop using the different Acti tools. So now we have a bunch of files. We not only have a session with a game in it that has been finalized and is ready to use, we also have a bunch of different files that can support our workshop during the day. So handout, facilitation guide, scripts, classroom presentations, and perhaps some exercises. These are all things that can be downloaded, and alongside the Floorboard, if you have that, you can also use the Floorboard signs, of course. This means that we are almost ready for the workshop. We can start preparing all the physical materials. If you need to print out any of the tools that we just looked into, you could do that, and then you'll be ready for your actual workshop pretty soon. See you in the next video.